Okay, yet again unto the breach, turn 48. Shit is getting complicated. We're storming this castle, which I thought I told them to do last turn, but apparently they didn't, so, yeah, that's happening. Azamar is still holding on. It's critically damaged, but it's, we're getting there. We're doing things. We're accomplishing stuff. We need to send some more troops down there with Saburi. The main event right now, however, is Ulm, and specifically how Ulm is, about to invade us. I believe, now Vanarus might be lying to me, and I kind of have to gamble at this point a little bit, but I believe I have convinced Vanarus to side with me against Ulm, and this may be partially affected by the fact that, well, Machaka is stereotypically, how shall I put it, not a very powerful nation. I do need Orm to be patrolling here. So hopefully, that's part of the analysis here. Antrax has an assortment of magical items and is moving out with them. Funny Guy. Actually, Antrax, I need to take that from you and give it to Funny Guy to help him not be assassinated if someone tries to assassinate him. He can just research right now. Actually, Funny Guy needs to move. Funny Guy needs to join the party. Or at least be close to... Well, no, he doesn't, because he can teleport. Okay, so Funny Guy can research. That's fine. He's the one holding up Well of Misery. I've got 2 globals, which is really great. Eternal Pyre and Earthblood Deepwell are my main competitors here. I'm not really going to do anything about them right now. What I am doing is moving to hopefully destroy Ulm's hopes and dreams. See, here's the thing. Black Branch, I have empowered in water. He can cast Foul Vapors. So what I'm doing is moving down here a whole bunch of stuff to defend the fortress. And I'm moving Black Branch out to cast Foul Vapors, hold 3 turns, and then retreat from back here. If he retreats, he'll go into the fort. If Ulm isn't expecting Foul Vapors, which I don't think they are, they probably won't cast the counter spells to Foul Vapors, which are Serpent's Blessing. Actually, I'm just going to set him to cast those 4 turns. That'll be fine. If he doesn't cast Serpent's Blessing, Foul Vapors will wipe out huge amounts of his troops. Now, Black Branch should also be wearing some kind of armor, because his protection is low, so we'll give him some armor there. So now he's at Prot 18. And basically, what this will do is, or I could just give him a Robe of Shadows. Or Ethereality. No, Ethereality doesn't work against magic attacks, and he might get hit by one of those. So, Black Branch is going to move down here, move patrol. If these armies storm in on my fort, as I expect, although I cannot prove they will, they'll get Foul Vaporsed. Like, at least these 2, assuming Ulm attacks, which I strongly suspect he will, at least these 2 armies will hit this fort, get Foul Vaporsed, unless they get lucky enough to annihilate Black Branch very early on in the fight here. They will take the Foul Vapors and die. I'm also actually going to send Kukimbia down with some Death Gems, and Kukimbia can move and patrol, and his role will be to cast Darkness, which unfortunately will cost him 400 fatigue, and thus he will cause damage to himself. But by casting Darkness, he will lower their, could cast Rigor Mortis, actually, but I don't think I have any good things for that. Anyway, Darkness will lower their precision, and so their excuse me, their crossbows will be a lot less damaging. And so he'll be in the back, and I'm also going to put him... he's just a regular sorcerer, not a black sorcerer, so I'm going to put that on him as well, so he has a little bit of protection. Well, that won't really affect him against crossbows. He's just going to hope that standing back in the corner means that he won't be the main target, and we'll have Black Branch down there, so the Black Branch can be a target instead of him if necessary. This should spark gem usage from the enemy. I've got Amrod patrolling with some pygmies out front. I could also actually have Funga patrolling. The goal here, of course, is to set up a situation where the pygmies attract attention for a while, and then I HP route. And that's really the goal. Their morale is not good. I'm going to put them in skirmish formation so that they get hit by fewer crossbow bolts. Like that. And Funga can be back. Funga can actually, yeah, be up front. That's fine. You can die. I really don't care about your well-being at this stage. Machaka Hoplites. Why don't you be, like, right there? You can hold an attack. I think this should trigger gem usage. And we'll have these guys up front in skirmish formation so that they can draw the fire initially, and thus limit casualties. And the whole purpose of all those troops patrolling is solely to drag the fight out for a few more rounds so that the Foul Vapors gets its full time to work. If the Foul Vapors gets its full time to work, like I said, it should pretty much kill the Olmites. Meanwhile, Black Branch is poison resistant 20 and doesn't care. Kukimbia is wearing this snake ring, and so is poison resistance 30 and doesn't care. So neither of them will be hurt by the Foul Vapors. Ulm should be hurt very badly by it, if it works. It is a dumb trick. There is a counter to it. If Christine casts Serpent's Blessing, which I know Ulm has access to, I might have trouble. But what I'm counting on here is Machaka has no national access to Foul Vapors. And so I don't think there's any reason why Christine should be scripted to waste a turn casting Serpent's Blessing, especially not early in the battle, which is what he'll need because I'm casting it first thing. So, that should be the goal. Beyond that, not a whole lot is going on. I'm constructing some Mandragoras. Over here, everybody's just researching. I'm casting Pale Riders and moving my other undead down to the halls. And if Kukimbia dies, it'll be a shame, but hopefully it'll be worthwhile. Do I need darkness right now? I don't, actually. I'm just going to move Kukimbia in there. I think Black Branch will be fine. He has Prot 18, which will lower damage. He has Pierce Resistance. He has 63 hit points. As long as he gets the Foul Vapors off, I think he'll be fine. And then I've got a whole bunch more troops moving in, which will provide some siege defense. Unless we wipe out a majority of these armies, it won't be enough to actually hold the fort, but it may well be enough to keep it up for a turn or two, and if necessary, Black Branch can pop right back out and cast Foul Vapors again. So, you know, I have countermeasures there. Ulm is hitting me a little bit earlier than I had hoped, and I was just a little bit caught off guard. And so, I am this is the army that he has in Ulm. It hasn't moved, it was patrolling. So I don't have to worry about that attacking me this coming turn. I'm moving my little Communion Nature Mages over into the halls to prepare, but I just need a few more turns to get my summoning really online. Like, I have to get my Death Magic online in a big way in order to stop Ulm from being effective. These guys are also going to have to move up here because they can, as Communion Masters, drop gifts from heaven. It'll be kind of a ramshackle ad hoc communion that ends up killing slaves, but if necessary, I can use that to wipe out some number of Guardians. And then I can use my Mound Fiends and Lamia Queen to cast death spells, like Rigor Mortis in particular, that will wreak havoc among Ulmish troops. So, that's the plan. I'll see y'all in turn 49. We'll see how it works out. Okay, folks, turn 49, and Ulm is coming for me. See, 170 units there, about 400 units between these two provinces, another 190, 200 units. That's the army from their capital moving south. So, now Ulm, Vanarus bounced a scout off me in Druidland. Interesting. I've been talking with Vanarus. I think this may have been him technically fulfilling a requirement without actually doing it. We took the fortress at Dragonscale Mountains, lost a couple of unimportant commanders and a bunch of pygmies, but wiped out the enemy, which is pretty good. He had a lot of Harab Seraphs, so I killed a lot of skeletons, I believe. In Mammoth Grove, we've killed the leader of the Fertility Cult, which is nice. In Imictum, we found another nature site, which is great. And we do have a very deadly disease in Dragonscale Mountains. That's a... You know what I mean. It's a Bane Venom Charm hopping around, which is sort of hilarious and frustrating. We're going to storm this castle. No, don't move. Just storm the castle. Storm the castle. You two both assassinate, even though you don't have any gear. That'll be fine. My two geared assassins are actually sneaking into the halls, where they will help assassinate the commanders of the army in Ablak. Pandu here is going to research. Kerry is actually hopping up this way. We've got a bunch of Pale Riders in this province. We're recruiting some more. We also have a few reanimated Long Dead, including Long Dead Hoplites. I didn't know that Machaka gets these, but it makes sense. I mean, I guess if they have Machaka Hoplites, they get Long Dead Hoplites. So, yeah, you get these guys. They're kind of neat. And, of course, we have our various Long Dead Horsemen. We are reanimated. We're casting Pale Riders twice down in the halls. And, in fact, actually, can I get these guys down into the halls? Like, having all those undead would be really handy. I can't. Damn. Okay, yeah, so just cast, 10 death gems cast. You can't cast leprosy because you're not death 5. I don't have the ability to make you death 5. Funny guy is casting leprosy, by the way. He's casting leprosy on this army here. I can't quite reach that army there, I don't think. He's casting it from here because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so I can't quite reach that one. 1, 2, 3. Actually, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I'm going to leprosize him. So, leprosy will hit this army and give a whole bunch of his troops and units diseases, which will be fantastic. He is, I think, going to break the walls of this fort in one turn. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to gem bait him, ideally gem bait him again, and then fight the battle in the fortress. I am going to have to drop Foul Vapors when I fight the battle in the fortress. I think I can cast Serpent's Blessing with Madogo, so I should be able to protect myself from it. I'm hoping that I can manage to remove his nature gems to such an extent that he can't. I don't know where Christine has gone. She has, to all appearances, vanished. But I'm not seeing this. So, like, we saw the golem here, but we're not seeing the thrice-horned boar. Christine was here, don't know where she went. He actually... Well, first of all, he attacked me with a golem super combatant, a heavily geared one at that. Like, this golem costs 30 pearls to summon, right? Has a shadow brand, which normally you don't use because it hurts people, but if you're mindless, you can use it. Because it doesn't affect... It's the inanimate, actually, that makes it not affect you. So golems can use shadow brands, but still, that's another 15, 25, 35, 40, 50, 60, 65. This would be 95 gems. Now, as Ulm, you get a lot of discounts. Mastersmith 2 for starters off of all these, plus probably a hammer. So, you know, this is probably actually only a total of like 70 gems. It's still a lot of gems. And, hilariously, he got beaten by one of the worst spells in the game. These guys were not actually scripted. They're just forming a communion of their own accord, as mages do when they're unscripted. And so this golem, Hasta la Vista Baby, comes forward and just beats up my province defense forever, while these guys are sitting back here just buffing the hell out of themselves. Getting lots and lots of fatigue built up. But it doesn't really matter all that much, because, I mean, they are all exactly the same, so they can cast a lot of spells. And they're dropping all sorts of meaningless buffs. And then they start casting spells at him, including Arcane Bolt. Now, Arcane Bolt is a bad spell. It's just not very good. It's a single target, and it only works on enemy magic units. They were casting Opposition. Didn't actually work, because it requires you to pass a magic resistance check. But Arcane Bolt is just straight damage to inanimate creatures. So, you know, they're just casting that spell. This guy, for some reason, isn't in a communion... Oh, yeah, he is. He's a communion slave. Okay. So they're just casting Arcane Bolt at point-blank range and doing a ton of damage to this golem every time they hit him with it. It's sort of hilarious. Plus, they're regenerating, so they can actually survive a couple of punches. And yeah, he just gets Arcane Bolted down by this little communion of lizards. 2 of them die. But, you know, I'll trade 2 lizard shamans for a golem any day of the week. Over here, he cautiously and wisely decided to poke at me instead of attacking right off the bat. He brought a couple of blood slaves with him, interestingly. So this is him trying to gem bait me with random items and blood slaves and gems and what have you. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to kill this guy with the Foul Vapors, because he was scripted to retreat too quickly, basically. So he managed to get off without taking, I think, any poison damage, actually. And then the Guardians started taking poison damage, a number of them. Actually, quite a few of them, but only a few actually died, because once again, they were only here for a couple of rounds, because their commander had retreated. So, and then the province defense and my pygmies took a ton of damage from the Foul Vapors. Pygmies are incredibly susceptible because they have such few hit points. So, yeah, I wiped out 40 of my own pygmies, but you know what? That's okay. I don't really care. They're replaceable. Unrest over here is increasing, which I don't really care about that much, to be honest. We're going to storm Azamar. The AI Caelum took this province back from me, which is sort of hilarious, but not very important. I've got these devils, which I would love to have a flying commander to move around. But as it is, it's probably just going to have to be Kami moving over towards the battle front. A few more blood slaves coming in. We're up to 53, so we can actually probably cast some blood spells. But we don't have any blood research. So, you know, that's fine. I'm not really focused on blood at the moment. It's sort of a very, very slow side thing that I'm doing. And to be honest, Lammasu is probably going to stop blood hunting, actually, and go do something productive, because I could use a Death 2 mage on the front lines. I don't have enough of those. Could always use more Death 2 mages. Hassan is going to try to spring another Foul Vapors trap on these guys, which he, unless he once again gem baits me, in which case he's wasted another turn, because losing 2 nature gems is okay by me. Hassan should be able to effectively Foul Vapors. If they actually do fight, he has some wolves. The wolves won't last any time at all. I will mix in, tell you what, I'm going to mix in these 4 Spider Knights, just so that they can live slightly longer. Like, if these guys can buy me one more round before Hassan routs, then they will do more poison damage. And so we should be able to get some poison damage on this army if the army actually moves in to try and break my fort, which it probably will, since I don't have many visible troops in this fort. And then, of course, I'll have it defended primarily by the undead, so I'll be able to do that again. I also have a small communion of magi and such. I am forging more boosters. You two also, since you're some Nature 3 mages, you need to be, like, moving to try and help, because this is honestly dangerous and problematic and an issue, and I'm not sure if I can win. I'm not sure if I can beat Mr. Root's offensive here. If he's very clever, I probably can't. If he's not very clever, I might be able to. So, you know, kind of not a situation I really like. Kukimbia is over here. I'll tell you what, Kukimbia, why don't you cast Pale Riders as well? Because I'm going to try to hold over here. Or you could you cast Leprosy? You cannot. We could, however, reanimate Archers. Banefire Arrows. Those could be handy. Since battles with Ulm, yeah, Banefire Arrows could be handy. I don't have any Death to Sorcerers over here, unfortunately. I am recruiting some Cavemen. If you can drop buffs on them, Cavemen are pretty good at fighting Ulmish troops just because they hit hard enough to punch through Prot. And, if, like I said, you have to buff up their Prot. Like, you have to drop at least Marble Warriors on them, preferably a couple of other buffs as well. But we'll see what we can do. And I'm also, of course, I've got Vanarus, hopefully, convinced to attack Ulm while this is happening. I'm trying to get Is to attack him also. And actually, well, here, let me answer this message here. He wants to talk about Nazca, which is a perfectly reasonable position, but I just don't have the ability to do anything about Nazca yet. Especially not if I can't stop Ulm first. So, let's see what he has to propose. But, you know, we'll have to kind of figure that out. It's Ernie playing, Is, by the way, as he loves to do. But yeah, if I can get Vanarus to push up here and attack Ulm in this region, and I can get Is pushing down this way, then I think I can at least... I may be able to actually force Mr. Root to the negotiating table, and in particular, if I can catch one of his armies and blow it up. That would be super, super useful. These armies are tough enough that they will hammer through my forts in 1 or 2 turns max, which is bad, but, you know, these things happen. I have enough random items that I can just have an enchanted spear. You can have a endless bag of wine. What else? Copper plate. I don't really want to give you a copper plate because copper plate's actually kind of valuable, but you need another slot filled, I guess. Yeah, okay, copper plate. So you will be the gem baiter. You can patrol. No one else is patrolling, right? Don't take the vine ogres with you. You can just stand back here and you can cast. What can you cast? You can cast cast Stone Skin, and then Enlarge, and then Retreat. There you go. That should spark gem usage. So, that's fine. So we'll gem bait him, And then next turn, I assume he'll break the fort. We'll gem bait him again, and then we'll have the actual battle where, of course, he will use gems. And we will Foul Vapors, and we will Serpent's Blessing, and do with just as much damage as we possibly can. The goal here, as I said, is to run him out of Nature Gems to cast Serpent's Blessing, assuming that he has somebody with this army capable of doing that. I would assume that Christine will be here, in which case I'll lose this battle, obviously. I'm probably going to lose it anyway, but if he doesn't have Christine, I may inflict heavy casualties. However, Christine can only be in one place at one time, and I don't know that he has any other Nature Mages. So, this army probably does not have anti-poison cover, which means that if they move in here, I can probably, hopefully, Foul Vapors them. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. I think that's the turn, pretty much. Don't have a whole lot else going on. I am researching up towards Evocation level 7, as I talked about last time, in an effort to get, like, Cloud of Death, Wind of Death. Wind of Death would be super useful to get active if I can. Cloud of Death, all that stuff. Acid Storm. I have the potential to cast Acid Storm, which could potentially help clear an Olmish army, or, of course, Firestorm. Firestorm really can't. Firestorm's not powerful enough. Wailing Winds would be super, super useful. As would Magma Erupt. Well, Magma Eruption actually doesn't hurt Olmish troops all that much. Especially not if they're heavily buffed. But I do have Shadow Blast now. So, to be honest, I could probably stop here and grab what? What would be better for me to grab than Evocation? Liquefy is a very powerful spell. It's just not a spell you can cast easily. Will of the Fates, likewise, very good spell. My God can cast this spell, so having Will of the Fates active could be very, very useful. It would take me a few turns to get, though, and I'm not sure I have those turns. Heat from Hell, definitely something I can throw out that will be very handy. What else? Rigor Mortis and Relief, that combo is very good if I can activate that. Life After Death, very good spell, but will... Oh shit, I don't even have Serpent's Blessing. Oh no, I done fucked up. Alright, we have to get enchantment level 7, like right now. Hassan has poison resistance, but many of my units do not, so I must have Serpent's Blessing before shit goes completely south. In any case, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in turn 50. Let's find out how this Olmish invasion goes, huh? I'm not super optimistic at the moment, but I have Well of Misery, so even if he does manage to push in and take all of this, which he might, I should still be able to recover. If at the very least I'll be able to teleport Funny Guy away and use my Death Gems to raise significant undead armies with which to fight on. So, we'll see how it all goes. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Okay, folks, it's turn 51. And it's turn 51 because I staled on turn 50. Health, busyness, etc. You know the drill. I just missed a turn, as happens sometimes. I'm actually sick right now. So that was actually super, super unfortunate because this was a very important turn. Because this was the turn that Ulm attacked the fortress at Thing Woods. And I had actually rather a lot of investment in Thing Woods in terms of mages, who unfortunately didn't get really given many gems or ability to do much because I staled, and so they didn't get scripted and such as I had planned. Now my troop force is woefully, woefully outclassed by his, obviously, and my strategy here was going to be gem burning Ulm twice before he attacked, by teleporting my god in, casting a spell, and having him return out, which is a little bit risky, but worth doing probably, and by sallying out of the fortress. And the goal there was to get this Woodhenge Druid to use up his nature gems that he needed to cast... Stop that, please. That he needed to cast Serpent's Blessing. Which he would have done. As you see, he got down to 2 nature gems right here very, very quickly. So if we had gem burned him twice, he would have run out of nature gems. If he had run out of nature gems, then simply by casting Foul Vapors, I would have been able to do very significant, possibly critical, possibly total damage to this army. Even with Serpent's Blessing active, Foul Vapors still would have done damage. But unfortunately, I didn't get Foul Vapors off either because I didn't have any gems. So, we lost the fort. Also, I would have been able to possibly stop him from firestorming via gem burning, which would have been very valuable because, of course, the firestorm burned up all of my troops and mages and such. So, overall, it was just very, very bad. Net result, I lost my Death 3 random sorcerer and a Skull Staff. I also lost my Empowered Ivy King. Honestly, that's the bigger loss. Losing him is a pretty significant problem. And then I lost a bunch of other sorcerers, and they just got absolutely wiped out, totally rolled. They inflicted almost no casualties. They killed one Master Smith, but I lost a total of 12 sorcerers, which sucks. Plus my Ivy King, and a significant number of troops. So, bad. Bad news. Also, I've been attacked in Mammoth Grove by a pretty significant army. This is going to be kind of a brief turn, because once again, I'm a little ill. And I'm just kind of doing what I can do here. We're forging an Amulet of Resilience. And we're sending Anthrax in. Anthrax is scripted to Phoenix Pyre, Soul Vortex, Skeletal Body, and then Invulnerability. Invulnerability will give him natural protection. Skeletal Body will give him pierce resistance. Soul Vortex, Phoenix Pyre is the immortality combo. The goal here, of course, is to get, if he can get into melee. There's a lot of crossbows in this army in Mammoth Grove. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. There's not a lot of crossbows. There are some crossbows in this army. But if he can get into melee with the Guardians, and with the Black Plate Infantry and all of that, as long as he has High Prot and Soul Vortex Phoenix Pyre active, if he gets into melee, he shouldn't die. Now, the crossbowmen, and the risk is that the crossbows and the Iron Blizzard kill him before he gets there. He is a magic being, so he takes double damage from Iron Blizzard. 1 second, I'm getting notifications, and I need to, cancel something. There we go. Alright, sorry about those notification noises. The risk is that he gets Iron Blizzarded to death early. And that is a risk, and it is possible. It could happen. To mitigate... excuse me. To mitigate that risk, I need some more nature gems, actually. Where are all my nature gems going right now? Hassan has some. Hassan's moving out to counter raid to attack this army. This army actually has Christine in it. Oh, that army has Christine in it. Never mind. Hassan's moving over that way to raid with some skeleton horsemen. That army is probably rolling in on Juek. We're casting Fairy Court, which will enable us to get protection against his missile spells. Then we'll just have to have something to kill the infantry with. Let's actually get Hassan... Yeah, let's move Hassan up that way. Hassan is just foul vaporizing and then casting spells, as usual. And hopefully he should be able to retreat if something goes totally sideways. But Ulm is rapidly burning through my foul vapors capabilities. I do also have, defensively, I've got meteors, which gifts from heaven, which will help. But Ulm may well win this war, not gonna lie. Vanarus doesn't seem to have either attacked or accomplished anything, one of the two, not sure which. Vanarus may well have not attacked, that's possible. Is is going in, they're accomplishing something. I'm trying to get Nazca to come in. Nazca's committed to repositioning, but not to ending his non-aggression pact, which is kind of what I need. This army, I think I am going to need to pull back, despite the fact that it's not actually going to accomplish much against Ulm, because it's mainly pygmies. And pygmies don't accomplish much against Ulm, on account of being pygmies, and doing a very small amount of damage, plus being very vulnerable to battlefield clears, which is what Ulm is deploying fairly significantly. So, if Anthrax survives this, which I think he should, if he doesn't, I'll just resummon him. If he does, then I will gear him with some equipment that I'm forging, Amulet of Resilience, Iron Face. Those will make him very, very tough. and give him some more reinvigoration so he'll be more effective. If, like I said, if he doesn't survive this, I'll just resummon him in a Micton and give him that equipment then. So it shouldn't be a huge problem. We are casting a lot of Pale Riders. Where are all of my nature gems? All of my nature gems are going to the Fairy Court and the Amulet of Resilience. So what I'm going to do is, in order to maximize the chances of him surviving, we're going to alchemize some fire gems, which are not super useful right now. We're going to get some nature gems. And oh boy, here. Put that away. Take these 9 nature gems. And you, oh boy, my man, are going to howl, first of all. And you can have a Thistle Mace for the purpose of howling more efficiently. You're going to howl, and then you're going to cast... Almost tempted to have you cast Relief. Or Haste. Dropping Haste on him would actually be really useful. But no, cast Howl, and then cast... not Swarm, the upgraded version of Swarm, if you can. Alteration... Yeah, Creeping Doom. Howl, and then spam Creeping Doom, just to generate some chaff to distract from the man himself. We'll also have... we'll have these troops right up front where they will draw the crossbow bolts, and we'll have Peter Parker way back here, and he will just retreat. So those troops will draw the crossbow bolts. We'll drop Howl and then Creeping Doom. That will also distract missile troops and mages shooting at the wolves and at the bugs. And then that should maximize the chances of Anthrax being able to cast his buffs and do what he needs to do and get into combat. And those two will be over there, so they'll also be on hold and attack. And these guys will be on hold and fire. Okay, so that might work. Hopefully that will work. Now, what I'm anticipating is that this army, which I'm also casting Leprosy on again, will move down here to attack Druidland. If they move over here to reinforce this army, then I might be in very serious trouble, because this army can cast all the mass buffs, and this army can spam a whole lot more Iron Blizzard, and etc. But, since this is already broken, I'm thinking they're going to go down here to break this one. And if they do that, then I have a good shot, because Anthrax is actually immune to many of their tricks, or can be made immune to many of their tricks. First of all, he's ethereal, so regular weapons don't really hurt him. I can give him an Iron Face, which I'm forging, which normally I would not do, but for this specific situation, an Iron Face is really, really good, because by giving him an Iron Face plus a Body of Knights, I stack his protection up to well over 30, which means that he should be able to just ignore Iron Blizzard. And then, of course, I give him some reinvigoration, the Amulet of Resilience, and with Soul Vortex Phoenix Pyre. At that point, his only actual risk, the only actual risk to him, is magic resistance negates spells. And to deal with those, we're forging an Amulet of anti-magic, and we're also forging... I could have sworn we were forging a lead shield. He does have spellcasting encumbrance, and the lead shield will increase that spellcasting encumbrance, but it's super, super worth it. Because by increasing his magic resistance by 8, we make him almost impossible to kill that way. Yeah, so let's forge... I forget if I already have somebody doing it. That's right, I need an Earth 2. You're forging the Iron Face. I know I have an Earth 2 somewhere. Don't I have an Earth 2... Sorceress. Yes. Mabuba, you will forge Lead Shield. There we go. So yeah, if he's attacked in melee, he'll deal a crap ton of damage. He has this Banefire Shield, which does enough damage to actually hurt Olmish. He's ethereal, he has pretty high prot. He causes fear. A lot of fear, actually. And he's fire resistant, so Firestorm can't kill him. And if I stack magic resistance gear on him, an amulet, and a shield, and possibly also a a lead crown, although I would really want to, I want him to have the iron face, actually, so we're going to use the iron face there. But if I stack those two on him, then his magic resistance is, at base, is 25, which is enough that it's very, very hard to spam enough astral spells to kill him, at which point he should be able to take on the Doomstack. Also, of course, throwing Leprosy at the Doomstack a second time, so these guys will be much more heavily diseased than they already are. Actually, I think this might be a collection of diseased troops. I'm also just raiding. I'm setting out Geth here with a whole bunch of sea trolls. He's casting wave warriors on them, which will make them even harder to hurt. So he can take that province back and then do some raiding potentially. Gathering troops up here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to survive this. I will at least lose territory, but I think I can blunt the attack by using Anthrax. And I think I'll be able to accomplish something there. I'm casting Pale Riders there. I've got some Pale Riders already in this province. I'm casting Pale Riders twice down here with Microzoth and Mechanoom. So I'm ending up with a lot of skeletal of long dead horsemen, who aren't super useful against Olmish troops except on the first strike. Their first charge gets 5 bonus damage. So that makes it 18 piercing, which can punch through Olmish armor. And I'm also spamming out Cavemen, which hit hard enough to punch through Olmish armor. But really, this is going to be a contest of magic versus magic. Olm has kind of caught me on the back foot, especially with that stale. That was terrible. That was really, really awful. I could have dealt a lot of damage to this stack, and I just lost the opportunity. But in any case, we'll do what we can do. We will just do what we can do. Moving out some troops from here, aren't I? Yeah, moving out Gabo, and Rend is patrolling. We've also got a bunch of Mandragoras over here that I should be deploying, excuse me, as well. We'll give them to Abu. And these two folks will move out that way, and we'll see if we can do something about this army. We can also use Funny Guy in combat. It's dangerous because he's supporting the Well of Misery, so if he ever dies, we'll lose that. But he's got pretty decent grip of gear on, he's got a Water Elemental buddy, and he's got a Rune Smasher. So he could potentially accomplish some stuff there. Also, that makes me, incidentally, I'm just gonna hit Christine with Vengeance of the Dead just to see what happens. I've got +2 penetration, so... Well, no, actually, no, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until she's in my Dominion, because in my Dominion, it will be extra spicy and effective. So hit them with Leprosy again. And I think we might be able to pull out of this. I think we can at least make Ulm pay a lot for the privilege of consuming Machaka. And to be honest, if Ulm wipes me out here, you know what? I done good. I can go to Valhalla with no regrets, but we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching. See you in turn 52.